Welcome to With the First Pick, where we're going team by team to build a perfect 7-round mock draft. Who's on the clock today? We're breaking down the San Francisco 49ers' biggest needs, best fits, and sleeper picks that can make their draft. By the time we're done, you'll have a complete blueprint for how they can dominate draft weekend. It's time to get on the clock. Let's build the perfect draft, Claire. That's producer Claire. I'm joined by Josh Edwards. I'm Ryan Wilson. All right, Josh. 49ers pick 11. They have 11 picks. And they've been doing a lot of selling in free agency, it feels like, and not a lot of buying. So I guess we should start with what do you think their biggest need is as we sit here just outside the top 10?
Well, offensive line seems like an evergreen topic. I feel like they could always look to improve the interior offensive line, possibly find a replacement for right tackle Colt McKivitz. You never know how Trent Williams, how long he's going to play. So I think you could start preparing for the future there. Interior defensive line, edge rusher, cornerback. They lost Travarius Ward, Brandon Ayuk if they trade him before April 1st. So a lot of different directions we could go.
Yeah, and it feels kind of high to even mention it, but we'll just put it on the radar as well for if not now, then certainly in a few moments. Off-ball linebacker, because there's some dudes in this class, whether it's Jahad Campbell or you want to move Jalen Walker around in that regard as well. But let's start with offensive line. See what we got there, Claire. Who's available? Oh, so Josh Simmons is at the top, and 11 feels high because he's coming off that knee injury. And I only mention that because I was at the Ohio State Pro Day yesterday as we're recording this, and he didn't work out, but he did a little warm-up. And basically, it's essentially the warm-up that old people do in college workout, but, high knees, some butt kickers, some jumping rope. But he also did some pass set drills, and the change of direction without a knee brace, however many months removed from knee surgery, oh my gosh, looked pretty impressive. And he's a big kid. So I just mentioned that. I don't think he goes 11. You can disagree if you want, Josh. But Kelvin Banks is sitting there, and Kelvin Banks certainly feels like he solved some problems. And Tyler Booker's sitting there, although tackle is probably a bigger need than guard. And I think Tyler Booker's one of the best players in this draft. But I'll defer to you, John Lynch.
Claire, can you go to the defensive tackles real quick, please?
And Kenneth Grant's still there.
Yeah, I mean, it could be a little bit early for them. Mike Green is there. I know you're a big Mike Green guy.
Yeah.
They don't really have any consistent production opposite of Nick Bosa. So, I mean, that could be a direction if you're trying to marry value and need as well.
Right, especially sooner rather than later, because as you mentioned, Trent Williams could probably play another 3 years if he wanted to. We don't know what his plans are. And depending on who you speak with, maybe Kelvin Banks Jr. isn't ready to go right away. I think he's a really good player, and you could certainly give it a go. He's a great athlete, so the athleticism won't be the concern. But I'm the assistant GM, so you got to make this call.
I'm going to mix it up a little bit. I'm going to go with Shamar Stewart.
Oh!
The defensive, the edge rusher from Texas A&M, because this is a team that often values length. They value your ability to hold up at the point of attack. They value your athletic traits. So if it's between Mike Green and Shamar Stewart, Stewart's got the edge in that all day.
You know, it's funny, and that reminds me a little bit of the Drake Jackson pick a few years ago, the second-round pick out of USC, whose tape I wasn't crazy about, but I remember talking to scouts saying he's going to go higher than you think because of the things you just laid out there. Now, he's battled injury and hasn't played like a second-round pick, but that doesn't waver from what you said in terms of why they might take him. All right. Second round, pick 43. What do we got left here? So, offensive line. Let's start there, Claire. Let's look at the offensive line real quick. I mean, Trey Amos is sitting there too. I might just take him, the cornerback out of Ole Miss, and not overthink it. So, Josh Connerly Jr., I love the athleticism. I think he's raw. Arante Ursary out of Minnesota, the other tackle, left tackle. I like him a lot. I have him graded a little bit higher than Josh Connerly. And then after that, Marcus Mimbu, you could consider here, or Mbao, I should say, out of Purdue. This might be the range he goes off the board. Jonas Avenaya can play tackle. Maybe he kicks inside the guard. And then, as I mentioned, I saw Trey Amos, the cornerback. It just has the best available players too, Josh. Which direction you want to start?
Can we look at defensive tackle again real quick, please? Trey Amos would be a good consideration. I'm just curious which defensive tackles are here. Kind of looks like a run already happened at the position.
Yeah, really
based
did.
on who's available.
Tyleek Williams is still there. Scary moment at the Ohio State Pro Day. He went down running his 40.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
But I think from what I understood at the time, it was just a hamstring. So that's relatively good news. Omar
Yeah.
Norman Lott is a undersized spark plug. Maybe a little rich here, but I don't hate him this high. Alfred Collins, I love. CJ Ward, I love. But these are guys, Jordan Birch, Vernon. I mean, the list of the depth of this defensive line class is bonkers nuts. As Claire scrolls through the list of name after name who could go, probably second, third, fourth. So it looks like, Josh, if you want to circle back, there are going to be about 15 guys still available the next time we are on the clock.
Yeah, let's do that. We'll circle back to defensive tackle. Let's go with Trey Amos, the cornerback out of Ole Miss. We'll stick with your gut here and take a pretty good player in the second round.
Yeah, we didn't even see who the other cornerbacks was. I thought that Trey Amos is. Big, strong, fast. Done. All right. 2 third-round picks coming up. One's the compensatory pick. But first up, pick 75.
So still possibly offensive line, defensive line here.
Right. So we have our edge rusher. We have our cornerback. Benjamin Morris is sitting there, who's, if he's healthy, I'm not sure where he is health-wise in the eyes of teams, but he had the hip injury last year. But he's a good football player. But you want to start at what, O-line, you think?
Yeah, O-line or defensive tackle.
Okay.
A couple of good names there. You've also got linebacker Pooh Paul from Ole Miss, who you've already drafted one Ole Miss guy. You mentioned linebacker off the rip. So, I mean, that could be a possibility as well.
Yeah. So, Claire, why don't you click offensive line and defensive line? I'm going to get crazy here. Save you the carpal tunnel of having to do it different times. All right. Marcus Imbow is still there. Vernon Broughton on defense. Josh Farmer, defensive tackle out of Florida State. Jordan Phillips out of Maryland, excuse me. I love him. I love Elijah Roberts out of SMU. Those last two young men were at the Shrine Bowl. Tate Ratledge is an absolute animal on the inside. I love him. So, Josh, Charles Grant. I mean, we just keep going. I'll quit talking and you can take over. Deion Walker, you're a guy, in that you cover Kentucky football as well.
Yeah, I'm thinking I do love some of the defensive tackles that are here, but I also think because of how many are still available, we could get a good one at 100 as well.
Okay.
I'm thinking maybe Marcus Bowe. Give him some interior offensive line help from Purdue. What do you think about that?
Okay. So you think his future's inside?
I think so. I think
Okay.
so. He could play right tackle. I mean, you can start him there and see if it works out, but I think he's got a soft landing spot inside, if not.
All right, let's do it. That feels like good value there. And then 25 picks later, compensatory pick. All right, let's try defensive tackle again, Claire. We're going to get one eventually.
You also know John Lynch is going to take a running back at some point, so keep that in the back of your mind.
That's true. And it already feels like we're late in the process. They seem to get those guys pretty high. So Deion Walker's there. He sort of feels like a 49er in terms of the frame, going back to your conversation with Shamar Stewart and previously with Drake Jackson. Anything else? Oladejo is a linebacker, moved to edge rusher. He's an outside guy there. Aeneas Peoples, he's a little spark plug as well. I love his game. Anything jump out at you?
I like Aeneas Peoples from Virginia Tech, but I think we got to stick to our convictions. We know this team likes length. This is the team that employed Arik Armstead and DeForest Buckner. Let's go with Deion Walker from Kentucky.
And this might end up being a steal. I think he played a little banged up last year. His 2023 tape is bonkers to watch. And then last year he was a little inconsistent. But to your point, that's the first guy you get off the bus just because he sends a message with the physical tools he's been blessed with. All right, next up. Looks like we have 2 fourth-round picks, including another compensatory pick. 49ers played the comp game pretty well. Obviously, the Ravens are the leaders in the clubhouse in that regard, but the 49ers ain't bad. All right, next up here, what do you want to target? Guess we have linebacker, running back, as you mentioned. There's some safeties available, like Sanker out of UVA, I love, but they do have Mustafa and they do have Jair Brown. they sign a few guys of free agency as well as safety and Jason Pinnock and Richie Grant.
Yeah, I wouldn't even rule out double dipping at defensive tackle in this class. I am
Yeah.
curious. I'm curious which running backs are even available at this stage.
Yeah, let's look at some running backs. I bet there are going to be some good ones. Jane Blue
Some
can
fast guys.
can move. Bashal Tootin can move. Brashard Smith feels like a CMAC built in the lab type of player because he's a former wide receiver out of SMU. The Arizona kid can move. I mean, these guys can all run. Trevor Etienne, I think, ran really well, if I recall correctly. I don't think he played quite that fast, but I would lean towards Brashard Smith just because I like him a little bit, and he has that versatility of pass catcher and obviously running the ball with a little juice. But I'm just the assistant GM.
Let's do it. Let's take
Okay.
Brashard Smith, give him their token running back.
That's right. And he feels like a 4th-round pick, so I'm okay with that too. I'm a little higher in these running backs than sometimes the teams are, but the way he played, I had no concern with. All right. Next up, pick 113, I believe. What do you think, Josh?
Going to see who their backup quarterback is at this point. Do you know who that is?
Yes, I do. It is my guy, Mac Jones. And he might even be the starter.
Oh, that's right.
I have my way. Tanner Mordecai is also on the roster. So
we're good there.
No one's replacing him.
Yeah.
I think wide receiver is something we could talk about, right? Because they might move on from Ben Ayuk. They moved on from Deebo Samuel. I'm sure 49ers fans are yelling at whatever they're listening to or watching us on, saying you forgot about wide receiver. Didn't forget, just had other things to sort through. So Isaac Tesla is one of my favorite players at the wide receiver position out of Arkansas. Didn't get a lot of snaps, but the snaps he got, I was impressed with. He can run. He is big. He is fast. He feels almost the same sort of like Ricky Pearsall type frame. And I think he has sort of that underrated athleticism as well. Juice Wells is there. Ty Felton, put up huge numbers for Maryland, is there. Dante Thornton Jr., who's just a Brian Thomas Jr. clone in that he's not quite at that level, but he can outrun everyone, and he's a huge target down the field. What are you thinking here, Josh?
Kobe Hudson from UCF jumped out to me as well,
Okay.
but I'm in the same boat as you with Tesla. I like him a little bit more than the consensus. I think he's a good athlete. I think he has proven to be a good route runner. So
yeah,
I think he feels like a 49ers type wide receiver. So I'm good going in that direction. We don't talk about him enough. So let's give him a little bit of love.
All right, make it happen, Claire. Boom roasted. What's up? All right.
Just checking off those needs.
Another comp pick coming up. All right. Man, they got a bunch of picks. All right, let's go, Josh. We'll pick up the pace here because they have so many selections.
Yeah.
So what do you think?
Can you scroll down a little bit, Claire? Let's just see who's best available at this point. Billy Bowman. I mean, they've got good safeties, but at this stage, you're looking for value. You're looking for special teams contributors. I think Billy Bowman would be a good value there.
Yeah, let's take him. He ran really well at the combine. I was surprised. I didn't think he played quite that fast, but he still ran pretty well there. I was repping my guy Mac Jones, and I see Kyle McCord sitting there. He feels like a guy. He feels like Brock Purdy 2.0. But let's see if he's still there later. It's not a huge need, but I do like Kobe King, the linebacker out of Penn State. And if we want to add some depth there, get Fred Warner some help. I know they're trying to re-up. I think Drake Greenlaw. I'm not sure if they did that just yet. It doesn't look like they did, and he was battling injuries previously. So they have D winners, but I think they could certainly use some help there. Jalen Graham's on the roster. Luke Gifford, they signed a free agency as well. So let's go with Kobe King, Penn State linebacker there, Claire.
Yeah, and Greenlaw was signed by the Broncos this offseason.
Oh, thank you.
They need depth there.
for that. I remember that the 49ers talked about earlier in free agency they were interested in trying to get Dre back, but if he's gone, then Kobe makes even more sense. All right. Looks like my guy Kyle McCord's gone. I mean, I'm going to throw this out there at you. If you can't have Kyle McCord, why don't you get Juwan Jennings 2.0 and Aronde Gatson, who's a flex tight end. He can block, and he's a willing blocker.
Yeah.
Their tight end room is George Kittle, of course. They signed Luke Farrell. But I think that if you're looking to beef up the pass catchers, Aronde Gatson gives you that Juwan Jennings type versatility. That might even be my comp for him. I think he's faster than Juwan. He ran a 4.65 at his pro day, and he thought he played plenty fast. But that's we can put him on put a pin in him and circle back of some other guys you're thinking about. But I'd lean in that direction just based on the
I mean that. Yeah, I mean this feels about the right range as well. So let's just go ahead and take him there and give him some depth in the tight end room.
Yeah, and I mean it's a situation where
this team has a lot of picks too. They're not going to sit there and take 11 players if I had to guess. So they'll probably be doing some moving around.
All right, so Woody Marks, the running back, is still there. Timothy McKay, the offensive lineman. Smile Munden is also available. Any names stick out to you as best available guys that can come in right away or at least make the team for special teams purposes? Jordan Hancock, the Ohio State defensive back, he's a good player. Number one, had a really good pro day in terms of the way he tested. He could be some depth in the secondary as well. Floor is yours, Josh.
Yeah, let's do. We could still consider Seth Hennigan later, the quarterback from Memphis, if you want to take a quarterback. But I like Jordan Hancock as well. So
good. Let's take Jordan.
They can never have too much depth in that room.
Yeah, absolutely. So. Yeah,
I think he'll probably go a little earlier too, if I had to guess.
Jordan had a 41.5 vert at his pro day and ran a 4.46, and he was very smooth in his drills. Again, that was a reminder to me. This is how you win the national title when guys that you never talked about in the fall are going out and producing like that. That helps. All right, here we go. Dante Trader.
Seth Hennigan's still there. Can add some depth to the quarterback.
Yeah, let's take Seth Hennigan. He's a tough kid out of Memphis. I liked him a lot in the fall. He went to the Senior Bowl. I thought he had a good week there. Quick recap here. Shamar Stewart, that's going to anger some 49ers fans, but I think to Josh's point, he fits the physical description of what they're looking for in these players, and I think his best football's ahead of him. Also fitting that description, Trey Amos, a long corner out of Ole Miss. Marcus Mbau, Purdue. Next up as offensive lineman, Deion Walker, who would have been felt like a top 15 pick a year ago. We get him in round 3. Brashard Smith, SMU running back, who has the versatility as a pass catcher, former wide receiver. Isaac Tesla, big, fast, playmaking wide receiver out of Arkansas. Billy Billman Jr., safety out of Oklahoma. Kobe King, really good football player out of Penn State, the linebacker who brothers Kalen King drafted the year before by the Green Bay Packers, I believe. Then Aronde Gatson the second. Jordan Hancock and Seth Hennigan wrap things up for the 49ers. All right. Make sure to subscribe to NFL and CBS on YouTube and download the With the First Pick podcast wherever you get your podcasts. Stay tuned for more perfect mock drafts because we're hitting all 32 teams.